It's an everyday thing. It's an everyday thing. It's an everyday thing when you let your nuts hang.
Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. Tyler Robinson didn't kill himself. I mean, these are the phrases that we now use and that we say when we expect that the federal government is telling us a lie. Last week, I have to tell you, I was contacted by a source who I vetted with information that answered a lot of the lingering questions that we've had about the investigation. Not all of them, but some of them, some of the big ones. First and foremost, we were like, how exactly did it work? How did Tyler Robinson turn himself in, as we were told, but also never confessed? And did he actually author those absurd Fed messages? Because I'm thinking no. Lastly, what was he doing at Dairy Queen? Doesn't really quite fit into our timeline. Also, don't expect this kid who just tried out being a stone cold killer to really have an appetite. And why exactly did the feds withhold that information at Dairy Queen? And why are they allegedly stalking the Dairy Queen to see who comes in and out? Well, we have the story that could potentially answer all of those questions. And it certainly makes a lot more sense than the slop that the government is currently trying to feed us. First and foremost, Tyler Robinson has never confessed. They acknowledge that he has never confessed to this crime, and he still is pleading innocence on the shooting. In fact, I was told that he was, quote unquote, bewildered by the idea that he carved casings. I should be clear, he does not dispute the fact that it is his gun at all. It is his gun. But Tyler is not exactly a gun enthusiast. He doesn't hunt like his other brothers do. In fact, he's apparently a fisherman. The reason that he has that gun in the first place is because it is, in fact, a custom-made family heirloom. Tyler is the firstborn son, so he inherited. That's what firstborns do. They get the family heirloom. That is why he has the gun. As many of you guys have noted, the Robinson family appear to be conservative, hence the hunting and the fishing as the sports of their choosing. I am told that they are fans of Charlie Kirk and they are fans of Donald Trump, although this source noted that Tyler, like many other conservatives have expressed, wished that Trump would sometimes tone down his speech and his rhetoric. Now, on the topic of rhetoric, I am told that Tyler absolutely did not author those text messages. What text messages? He has no idea where these messages came from. Believes that they are therefore entirely fictionalized. It turns out, you're going to be shocked, that he doesn't actually use words like vehicle, which should come as no surprise to anyone that has a brain. By the way, I'm sure you caught this, but there's old footage of Tyler Robinson that is now circulating from a car accident that he had. And during the discussion with the officer that showed up, Tyler certainly refers to it as his car, not his vehicle, because that's how most English speakers refer to a car, unless they're in the military or on the police force. So here is 2022 police body cam footage, in case you missed that, of Tyler making a crash report. Take a listen.
Your mom's on her way?
Yeah, she's gonna be a minute. She's got to shuttle over from where she's at to her car and then drive over.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think it's a bunch of crap going on. Yeah, because as a truck driver, I say fuel, and most people don't say fuel. I say I need to fuel up, and most people say I'm just gonna put some gas in the car. I say I'm gonna fuel up. You know, it's just, you know. So I think they're like, if like in the military vehicles, that's what they say, or they say, what do they call it? They call it they don't call it pedestrian, but they say what do they call people in the military? Like not civilians. They say civilians. Nobody says civilians, but military people. So if you know. You gotta have a certain type of rhetoric to use that or a certain type of vocabulary that you use daily to call a car a vehicle in a text message. Besides, who would type out vehicle versus car? It don't really make sense.
Don't think about it if you want it to make sense. Then we find out that Lance I guess, decided to take a picture and then text Tyler back. And here is where he asks him, Lance says, Tyler, what? You're joking, right? This, the note said, I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and I'm going to take it. So Lance is like, what? You're joking. And Robinson says to him, Tyler says, I'm still okay, my love, but I am stuck in Orem. That's the town, okay, that UVU is at, for a little while longer yet. So poetic. A little while longer yet. I'm going to look that up on my phone later. It shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I got to grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I'm sorry to involve you. Now, I want to jump to this next message because it gives us a timeline. He says to him, I assume right away, Lance says, you weren't the one who did it, right? And Robinson says, I am. I'm sorry. And the roommate says, I thought they caught the person. Okay. And Robinson responds, no, they grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering. Okay, so that lets us actually be able to drop that into the timeline pretty simply. Why? Because we know, and we can pull up this timeline, that they at first thought it was George Zinn, so that's who he's referencing, some crazy old dude. And on the timeline, Skylar, if you want to pull that up so we can go through it, what time Charlie gets shot at 12:23 p.m. Scroll down a bit. George Zinn, we learn about 30 minutes after that, George Zinn, the decoy boy, that's when it's announced that he's a suspect in custody by the Utah police. But it's not until, by the way, 5:30 p.m., because he mentions that second suspect, and he curiously says in that correspondence that he's wearing similar clothing, which I find to be strange. We don't know what that second suspect is wearing until 5:30 p.m., when Governor Cox, 12 minutes into a press conference, the press conference began at 5:30 p.m., mentions that the second suspect, who is a person of interest, is wearing all dark clothing. So the earliest that message could have been sent out is after 5:30 p.m. I think it's unlikely because I think, again, this is all made up, these messages, because he says wearing similar clothing. Okay, he tells us dark clothing. What's similar about that? This guy allegedly, when he did this, was wearing black jeans. Dark jeans and a black shirt. So that's like everyone on campus, okay? Nobody in the press conference says, oh, we picked him up because he was wearing something similar to the shooter. So that language right there is actually a mistake from the feds. But again, it allows us to be able to plot it into the timeline. So that's good. Okay. Timeline is back up here. And
the timeline is crazy. But I think he was the FBI don't have no clue of what's going on. The FBI didn't send those text messages. It was somebody hired. It was a higher authority that sent those messages and set this whole thing up, because the father, Tyler Robinson's father, turned him in. The reward money is to go to Tyler Robinson's father, which was a large amount of money. And since it was a large amount of money, I think that's a good sacrifice. You know, it's a good sacrifice. But hey, we don't know. Candace could be throwing us off, or she could be on to something. We don't know.
By the way, just one other conspiracy theory I just want to snuff out here. One of our dear friends that literally from the very beginning started with us and loved Charlie like a brother, he grabbed the SD cards out of the camera afterwards. And there's all these conspiracy videos about, like, why did he grab the SD cards? Well, first of all, they're in the possession of the FBI. Okay. It's not like he took them and like ran off with them. Second of all, I asked him personally, I said, why did you do that? And he looked at me and this was his answer. He said, because I know people can be evil. And he did not want that footage being grabbed. By the way, just one other conspiracy.
Nah, I think that's cap. People seen all that. People seen this guy rushing through, grabbing all the SD cards. What more evil could somebody do? They get that. The video is out there. What more could they do? I think those SD cards may have different angles from the actual shooter. That could be it.
Take a listen to what he told Jesse Waters on the night of.
Cooper Brown was an event volunteer who was just feet away from Charlie when he got shot. Cooper, what happened?
Yeah, so this requires a little bit of background knowledge, but so I work for an organization called Leadership Institute, and what we do is we work hand in hand with all the different conservative coalition groups on college campuses. So the Young Americans for Liberty, the Students for Life, and the Turning Point USAs. And so at Utah Valley, we had been really, really excited to be able to host Charlie Kirk this semester. And we had spent weeks and weeks and weeks getting volunteers, advertising for this event, and just so excited to be able to host Charlie Kirk at this university. And then unfortunately it had to end in absolute tragedy.
So I'm trying to get in touch with this individual once I realized that not only did he speak the night of, he also spoke on Fox News the very next day, which would mean what? Did Turning Point USA, I don't know the answer to this, I'm asking genuinely, did they say speak to this person who's not actually a TPUSA student, but he was there? I don't know how this works. But the next day, sure enough, he appeared on Fox News again. And I'm not sure if we had that clip, Skylar, but if we do, let's roll it.
That day we had 30 or so student volunteers that were designated roles that were going to be helping pass out Turning Point USA merchandise and getting people signed up for the event. And my responsibility was, when the event actually started, to help manage just the microphone. So something simple as just raising it and lowering it, making sure students were able to speak into it clearly. And I thought this was a fantastic opportunity to be up really, really close, to be able to witness all the amazing dialogue that was going to be happening on campus.
Couple of things about Cooper Brown that to me is a bit of a mystery at this moment. First and foremost, you provide witness testimony, you start doing the rounds on Fox News, you are fair game, okay? I'm going to start asking questions because I need to know everything. Everything's got to fit neatly into my timeline. So in trying to reach out to him and in publicly posting, hey, I'm trying to identify this individual, I received a ton of emails. One email said, hey, I'm actually his cousin, and here is his number. Now, I noticed that cousin happens to live in Phoenix, Arizona. So I went and just checked some profiles on social media. I found some Browns, but they were all living in Phoenix, Arizona. Okay, maybe this person's from Phoenix, Arizona. Well, actually, when I went through what he has as his resume on this website where he says that he works with this institute, I couldn't fact check any of the things. Went to school, a very small college in New Hampshire. I'm from the Northeast. If you're going to school in New Hampshire, especially not the University of New Hampshire, you can go ahead and bet that you're going to be a local. So I'm looking for a kid that's from New Hampshire to go to this tiny school. I found someone from that name with his name, but it was actually a girl that had that name and graduated in the year that he says that he graduated in. He doesn't look to me like he just graduated college, but according to his resume, he did. And the number that she gives me, which is the first thing that registers to me as odd, is it's a Utah. It's a Phoenix-based number. So I'm going, who is this person, and why is it linking that number to somebody else who is 32 years old and has that same last name? I don't know. I intend to get those answers, but there's something here that strikes me as a little bit odd, especially given the fact that as a volunteer, as he expresses there, they decided to allow him to hold the microphone. That's supposed to be like kind of an honor.
They let me hold the microphone and adjust it. I thought that was a great opportunity. Yeah, I guess so. As I was looking at the picture of, I think at some point that he was like close up. Like if you look at this crowd and where Charlie Kirk was and where he's sitting, and that guy shot over all those people. He shot over all those people, regardless of the wind, and if there was any wind or something, range, you got to account for. Like, the drop of the bullet, like gravity and stuff like this. And plus, because he was already shooting downward. That shot in the neck was pretty damn good. Okay, for somebody who's not a marksman, or he's a fisher. You know, he fishes a lot. That was a pretty damn good shot. Not saying it was good. I'm saying, he hit his target. But this, I don't know what to say. But also, why ain't Charlie Kirk's wife aligning herself with Candace Owens? Like, Candace, catch me up with this shit. Like, cause if you saying something's up, I need to know. If my husband was killed, a lot of these things that you're saying are adding up, and a lot of the timelines ain't adding up, and people coming from nowhere were around my husband, SD cards being stolen. I will be in there. I'll be like, Candace, come to my house. We got a big whiteboard. We got sticky notes and thumbtacks and everything. We about to put people on the board like the FBI. Better draw lines from person to person, and we finna do all that shit. Cause what is going on? But why ain't Charlie Kirk's wife up there? Cause she don't care. Erica don't care. So at this point, I'm starting to think, hey.
Day and night. For some women, it can start working in as fast as 1 week.